Acting Chair, Mr Acting President, I support and welcome Dr Ratnam's motion to reject gas drilling near the 12 Apostles. And the risks of this project are profound. Not only do we know that burning fossil fuels such as this kind of gas is contributing to a climate crisis, but we know that there are risks here too, risks to our local onshore and marine environments. This is a conservation area that is a migratory path for humpback whales, the southern right whale, and home to many thousands of migratory bird species. Mr Acting President, I refer to a recent story in The Age from Monday this week about the United Nations Biodiversity Conference. This is taking place in parallel with the Glasgow Climate Conference. The story features remarks from Professor Brendan Wintle, who appeared before the Environment and Planning Committee's inquiry into ecosystem decline. Professor Wintle said Australia is seen as a global pariah on biodiversity protection. That's more than a bit embarrassing. Wilderness Society campaigner Jess Lurch told The Age on June the 15th, and I quote, "The carving up of the oceans to hand them to fossil fuel companies happens without any environmental consideration and without any meaningful space for the community to have their say. Not even a national icon like the 12 Apostles will constrain the mindless release of acreage," end quote. Now, in regards to environmental considerations, we're being told by the government and the project's proponents that the activity will be strictly regulated to protect the environment. But I've heard numerous expert witnesses before the Planning and Environment Committee into ecosystem decline that ecosystems are very delicate. The act of drilling is likely to disturb and damage sensitive ecosystems, no matter what level of regulation is proposed. A range of environmental groups have said that the Victorian Government's support for gas production and projects such as this defeats the purpose of its goal in reducing carbon emissions. The time for new fossil fuel projects has expired. But then again, this government is also wedded to high rates of population growth, which obviously vastly increases carbon emissions. So once again, the government is inconsistent across a range of environmental issues, including greenhouse gas emissions. We have to ask why, in a country as abundant with gas resources as ours is, there is a need for state governments to put out reports of us about having a shortage of gas and that we urgently need to find more. Is it because of the federal government's mismanagement, which has allowed a gas company cartel to export most of our gas to the competitive Asian market? The vast majority of the gas they're planning to extract will be exported. We export so much gas, there is not enough of it available here. We've sold all our gas off. We haven't even been smart enough to reserve gas for ourselves, even at the current population levels. The traditional price for gas has been $2 or $3 in Victoria a gigajoule. At one stage, it hit $58 a gigajoule. If we're going to use fossil fuel gas, which we must quit, we need a gas reservation policy that should reserve enough gas for the Australian market. Western Australia has such a policy, and we do not. Japan surprised markets in July when it announced accelerated plans to phase out the use of gas for its energy needs as part of its environmental policy. If demand from countries such as Japan, one of our major export markets, if not our largest export market, is reducing, why are we so desperate to drill for gas now in the vicinity of national parks? Where is the understanding that all this may be necessary because countries in Asia, such as Japan, are looking to reduce their gas use as part of their efforts to combat global warming? Mr President, I don't see why the government is continuing to waste money on gas exploration instead of focusing on renewables. I believe that it's important we develop an energy supply that's smart, affordable, reliable and safe, but most importantly, environmentally sustainable. I've been pushing for investment in renewables, particularly the development of green hydrogen as a new clean energy source. I note on the weekend that Dr Andrew Forrest of Fortescue Metals and Fortescue Future Industries was in Queensland with the Premier and Deputy Premier announcing a $1 billion plant that will make electrolysers to extract hydrogen from water. They're also looking at a 250 megawatt green hydrogen facility in Tasmania. Hydrogen will be the means of supplying high-temperature heat for steel mills and storing energy where battery requirements would be too large, such as long-distance transport. Now, there's a future industry for us to use. We saw the Business Council of Australia, surprise, surprise, on the weekend calling for a massive 46 to 50% reduction in emissions by the year 2030. How can projects such as the one we are discussing today be feasible under such cuts? Thank you.